second half 2024 is going to be very karmic. It'll seem very faded and going to be a lot of change going on. 2024 in and of itself is a very transitional year, and it really doesn't start until right now, because the beginning of the zodiac year starts with Aries, the third week of March. I believe it's March 21st to be exact. So with that being said, the second quarter of 2024 is actually the first quarter of the next astrological new year cycle. So we're coming out of all these endings, right? Pisces had just ended, and now this new eclipse cycle has also started. And eclipse cycles really bring in the change of energy. And of course, it's getting warmer, things are blooming and blossoming, and the same thing in our consciousness. So when everything is blooming and being birthed, especially right now, we have just ended 14-year cycle. We have actually, we're ending and starting so many cycles, all right? I was specifically referring to the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that's happening April, the third week of April, right? But also with this new eclipse season being a total solar eclipse, there's so much information out there. It's been talked to death, right? So I'm not going to get into that. But I do want to get into some of the other areas and aspects that we're seeing and the shifts in energy that we're going to be seeing coming into this summer, especially with the ruling energy of the entire zodiac, really, for the next year. It's going to be Neptune, because Neptune is in its ruling planet, and it's going to be sitting at 29 degrees this whole quarter, really this whole next 2 quarters. And 29 degrees is an anorectic degree, but not only that, it's the last degree of the entire zodiac, which means that there's sort of this finality feeling to it. Now, this can mean many things in regards to the shifts and changes that we're going through. It feels like there's a lot of endings going on, but those endings could feel like deaths too, right? This could be ego deaths. If people are not willing to do the inner work, primarily, this could be physical deaths. It could be shifting from really one life to another. This could be rags to riches or riches to rags. It really depends on what you consume and what you choose to feed yourself. Or if you go too much, if you get caught up in the consuming of anything, too much of anything is not good for you, right? The middle path is the way. And the middle path is also alignment. That's heart and mind coherence. So this is where all the work that we've been doing, all us empaths and light workers and starseeds and whatever label you want to give it, right? Even Christians and people that follow religions, if you have a relationship with a higher power, then this testament or test of that practice of faith, no matter which form or version that you're using, is going to need to be demonstrated or practiced in order to be able to keep out of the storm that is outside in the world. Now, when you are able to do that, because quite frankly, the voice, that still small voice, that is your intuition, that is your heart speaking, all right, that is your divine guidance, that is going to be at an all-time loudness. It's getting turned up quite a bit. It's going to be so obvious. The synchronicities and everything are just going to be right there in your face. But also, the distractions are turned up to its greatest loudness, right? So as our connection strengthens, the darkness also strengthens to try to pull us away, because they are in a battle for our consciousness. And we have a free will choice to choose what direction we go with that. So we really, if you're just like doing the whole hustle and grind lifestyle, now at this point, you're not going to be doing all right. And I even see some of my friends, doing this, and I'm not really saying anything because I'm just sitting back observing, because I'm not trying to say that I'm right. I'm just saying I'm observing what I'm feeling. And back in the day, I probably would have been like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. But you know what? That may not be for them. They have to learn their own way, just as I'm learning my own way. And I am far from perfect. All right. I am by any means not perfect. But I do what I I focus on staying humble and, doing the inner work to be able to keep myself aligned, because I have been way out of alignment and I know what that feels like. And I don't want to go down that road again. So I think it's a lot of people that have never really been down that road of being knocked off balance or knocked out of alignment that are going to have a really hard time with this. You're going to be really, really careful and clear, and step into that vulnerability, and if, like, slow down or you're going to crash. Like if you're driving 120 miles an hour down the road all the time, even 80 miles an hour, eventually you're going to hit something, right? You got to learn to pump the brakes a little bit. You don't need to, especially right now with the game of abundance, right? We are shifting into this time, and really this is the first quarter where we're actually really fully birthed into this time, where it is trusting and being a magnet to bring these things to us, instead of going out chasing it and trying to, get ahead and above everybody else. Fuck all that shit. All right. And so as we're stepping into this new way of being, it really takes a fundamental, you got to come back to the very center of yourself with each decision, with each situation, with each process that you find yourself in. You really got to take a step back and be able to observe from that focal point. Because if you're caught up in a process, or if your mind's going, really, really fast, you're going to make a decision from that point, and that point can send you 1 degree this way or 1 degree that way in a direction that's outside of mind heart coherence. And then that's when you can crash and burn. So I want you to be careful about that. All right. But let's look at the chart. So we have April. I just got done doing my Mercury retrograde reading. So I've kind of beat April to death. I think a lot of people have. This is going to be literally the transformative month of transformative months. This is like where we are going through the chrysalis. At the end of the month, we're coming out of the chrysalis with wings, when we were a caterpillar before, and now we are birthed into this new place. And it's like, now we got to learn how to be this new version of ourselves. And with this new version comes new responsibility, comes new ways of being, comes new understanding, comes new kind of people that we attract, comes new ways of everything. Like I used before, this analogy with the Matrix and Neo, right? When Neo, at the very end of the original Matrix, when Neo gets shot, right? That shot represents like, we don't really have solid boundaries, and we let that criticism in. We allow these things in that hurt us, because there's a part of our vibration that is connected to that particular frequency that we need to heal, right? And we're having a rebirth. So there's an ego death, then a rebirth. And that ego death can feel real, man. I've had thousands of them, and it doesn't really get easier. You just learn how to surrender into it better or more each time. But the fear still comes up, and it still hurts, and it's still painful, right? You just got to have trust and faith. And the stronger your faith is, the less your fear has a grip on you, and the more that you're able to step into your divine faith and will, and connect to your heart, and let your heart guide you. So now we're into May, and we have Mars now in Aries. So Mars rules Aries. So this Mars energy, after it went over Saturn and over Neptune, we started a new Mars cycle. Okay, now we have Pluto retrograde as well. Pluto went retrograde early on the 3rd. So of course we know when a planet goes retrograde or direct, it's at its strongest vibration. So we've been feeling this Pluto. It's the Pluto and Aquarian vibes have been probably the most potent, in my opinion. But now with Neptune, the beginning of May, here at 29 degrees. Let's see, it comes in on May 3rd. All right, 29 degrees is the anorectic degree. This is where Neptune kind of takes over and is ruling the show. Now, this can mean in the world, this can mean a lot of floods, a lot of problems with water. It could be an attack on the water system. It could be emotions just gushing out, pouring out. Now that our souls have evolved to this new level, this new way of being, right? It's also intuition, right? Spiritual, insight, divine connection. There's gonna be a lot of changes and shifts and rules in regards to religion and spirituality. In fact, I think they're gonna start to attack astrology because, like people are starting to say different things are demonic and all these, blasphemic concepts and ideas where, I personally believe, astrology is not a religion. It's a philosophy uh, that helps understand human consciousness. Same thing with human design. Same thing with the I Ching. Same thing with the Law of One. It's these are all different just philosophies. Really, even like Buddhism is kind of the same thing as well. As long as you're not hurting anybody, and this is helping you be a better version of yourself, I think you're good. I think you're okay. Because really, at the end of the day, love is what matters. Unconditional love is where we're headed, and that is, what I believe all these things are teaching us is all about. So this is where we're stepping into a higher vibration, getting closer to that unconditional love. I think that we'll probably reach that point somewhere around 2026, between the end of 2025 and the end of 2026, is when really um, things are going to really evolve, where our DNA is upgrading and evolving. And so this year is really the transitionary year to 2025, which is the big peak, like new world is here. Like now it's time to really build the new world, where this is figuring out where we got to go, figuring out the dynamics, the architecture, the structure, putting all the pieces together. And next year it's like, okay, now we got all the pieces together. Now we are making shit happen. All right. So, two of the most auspicious days of the year happening here. Let's come back to April, where, nope, that's not happening yet. Okay, so when the sun comes up to connect with Venus, well, we're gonna have, let's see, May 7th, we're gonna have a new moon. Let's see exactly where that is. New moon at 17 degrees, 17 degrees of Taurus, which is just a few degrees away from Uranus and where the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction was. So that may reactivate that Jupiter-Uranus energy. I'll tell you, May is really going to be the month where shit really starts to pop off. Things really start to grow and happen. And of course, with May, Mars in Aries, our divine masculine is now its home sign. It's finished the cycle. Now it's like ready to go. Now let's take action. Now it wants to go and do things and make it happen. So that May 7th, it's gonna be a pretty powerful new moon. New moon conjunct Uranus is always unexpected shifts, changes, opportunities, a lot of purging, a lot of clearing. All right, and of course, then on the May 13th, we have the sun conjunct Uranus with Venus there right behind it. And Mercury now is out of its shadow. Hallelujah. Now we just have Pluto retrograde. So not too bad. Everything is still moving quite a bit forward. And then, of course, coming up into, let's see here, May 18th, we have, this is a powerful day. May 18th, we have Uranus conjunct Venus and Jupiter exactly conjunct Taurus at 28 degrees, right on the Pleiades. So this is where we could be getting, the sun conjunct Jupiter is the most auspicious aspect in astrology. So this could be where we're really like, all right, it's on, like blessings are ready to come in. We're getting downloads, we're getting insights. Moon is conjunct the South Node, past life gifts, blessings, lessons. And Mercury is, now in Taurus, getting ready to communicate with Uranus. Genius insight, a lot of potential downloads and beautiful energy and insights here. But be careful not to fall into the potential delusion of the energy of Neptune, because Neptune overall is creating like a bubble around all this energy, saying, hey, I'm the one that makes the final say. Okay. And Saturn is like, dude, Saturn is closing out a 30-year cycle and starting a new one. But it's also saying, hey, we need to put some form, like we need some discipline, some structure in all these, unstructured places. But with Uranus and Venus, is also like, I want to do something different. I want to receive in a new way. I want to feel this type of feeling in my body in a new way. So it's gonna be a good time to experiment and explore, especially if you have a significant other, like it's a good time to get a little, freaky and have a little fun, right? Like be open to trying new things right here around the third week of May. All right, so now Venus is beyond Uranus. Now we have the sun coming into Gemini. So Venus is quickly moving up to Jupiter. Venus and Jupiter could actually, Venus, Jupiter, and the sun are all kind of conjunct right around this time. This is very auspicious. This is very, very positive energy, guys. Enjoy it. We've had this new beginning. Now we're having a lot of opportunities come in, but the opportunities are also challenging this new place they're at, saying, are you ready to step into it? Are you ready to take this responsibility? Who is it that you're ready to be? Who do you believe you are? And if there's any residual, belief or self-worth issues, right? Taurus is all about self-worth, self-confidence. All right. And then Chiron, the identity too, is also still, at 21 degrees now. And with Mars conjunct the North Node, like, hey, let's step into these deep vulnerabilities within our identity and accept them, right? Like stand in it with not pride, but with gratitude for having the strength and the ability to own these imperfections. The more we can own it, the more we take responsibility for it, the more authentic we're going to appear and feel and seem. And that authentic vibration is going to return that authentic vibration tenfold. I really truly believe that, provided that you're living in a high vibrational way. So welcome to Gemini season. All right, now we have Jupiter and Venus conjuncting at 29 degrees on the Pleiades, and they're going to be moving into they're going to be moving into Gemini here together. So Jupiter goes into Gemini on May 25th. So that's going to be a massive, massive shift of energy. And that's going to be, I believe it's going to stay in Gemini. I don't think it's going to come back to Taurus. That's going to be there for the next year. So end of May, beginning of June is going to be a massive shift of energy. So Jupiter in Taurus was all about feeling in the body. It's about reevaluating our values, our morals, our ethics. So we've been doing a lot of deep work about looking within and seeing, what do I value? What do I want in my life? What do I really want to go? What does my soul desire and even crave? And how do I attain that? Taurus is really all about the self-worth and self-confidence. Gemini is now taking that self-worth, self-confidence and going out into the world with it. You're like, hey, this is me. It's very intellectual. It's very, hey, social. Let's go, let's do this and that. The last time that Jupiter was in Gemini was 2012. Okay, think back to 2012. It was June of 2012, I believe. And that rested that year to like May of 2013. So I know for me, that was the peak of my bodybuilding career right then in 2012. So this is really great for socializing, for building community, which is what, I think we're all preparing for right now, to build this community and to really create this new world. We're finally going to start to realizing or shifting our priorities, say, hey, we really need to come together. Who knows what the outside world is going to be doing, but one thing's for sure is like-minded people are going to be kind of coming together with like-minded people. There could be tribes building up. There could be alliances being made, alliances being broken. We're going to be seeing all that kind of stuff out in the world. Now, the same time that this is happening, all right, Venus is creeping up on the sun and Mars is coming up to conjunct Chiron. So they're hanging around here right about the same spot. In fact, we're having a lot of triple conjunctions throughout the year, phasing through these times, which is, I find really interesting. But we have Chiron conjunct Mars at 22 degrees, while Venus is at 7 degrees, the sun is at 9 degrees of Gemini. And then Mercury is at 21 degrees of Taurus with Uranus at 24 degrees of Taurus. So now we're evolving this energy. It was, in the previous quarter, it was from Pisces to Aries to Taurus. Now it's Aries to Taurus to Gemini. So we're kind of hopping, skipping, and jumping here into the evolution of us creating this new life. Now, even though we're creating this new life, remember that this year is a transitory year, meaning that we're putting things in place, but things may still go up and down. We're still kind of learning, right? we started a new 20-year cycle back in 2020. And well, we started a couple 20-year cycles actually in 2020 and 2021. So we're still in the birthing phase of this new 20-year cycle. So as this birthing is happening, now we're actually, you know, think of it like we were in the womb for like 2 years, right? Like cosmically, we're in this cosmic womb or the cosmic chrysalis. We are out of the chrysalis now, guys. That is a major shift. And now that we're out of the cosmic chrysalis, now we're learning how to walk, we're really learning how to crawl, right? We're learning how to use our hands, our fingers, our toes, all of our senses are becoming heightened. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing, you know, extrasensory gifts being activated, telekinesis and, you know, telepathy getting much stronger, energetic, you know, intuitively energetic people, just, you know, medical intuitives. You know, I know, like, you know, for years I've been working on that, getting better and better. I can read things and see people and things, and the more that I trust my heart, the more it just, like, I can feel like it's in my own body, but I observe it from a healthy observation. Or but I had to learn how to not be attached to that energy. You know, as empaths, we feel other people's stuff, right? So before I learned how to do this, I would feel others like it was my own. I thought it was my own. I thought there was something wrong with me, right? Until I learned how to separate that energetically and emotionally. And that I had to separate from my identity to it. I had to separate from my central nervous system being entangled, you know, from growing up, from all the trauma that I experienced. And when I learned how to do that, I finally, over 14 years of a dark night of the soul, was able to, now I can do it on command, and I can see what's going on, and I can just take a little breath and detach and identify what I feel. I know it's not mine. Okay, this is what's going on. And then I verify it with other means. That's how I do what I do, right? But I've been getting more and more surgically on point, you know, over the years. And now that we're stepping into this Gemini energy, it's shifting from embedding into the central nervous system, embedding into the heart, to shifting to mind, right? So now it's going to function even more efficiently into the mind, and that's where things are going to happen faster and more efficiently. We could also see a lot of technological advancements here now, but this is really going to be a preview to when Uranus finally goes into Gemini in 2026. And I'll make a separate video on that, because that's a whole different world and a whole new ballgame. All right. But, and, you know, we still have the North Node at 14 degrees. It was at 15 degrees for a while. When we have you know, the eclipse season happen, the nodes tend to just sit there for a little while and not really move. So now it's starting to move a little bit. Now we have Mercury that's beyond Uranus. We got some genius insight, some new understanding of how we're going to take this new embodied conception of values and ethics and morals that we want to go out to the world with, and you know, creating something beautiful through it into the world with Gemini energy. And now that Mars and Chiron have a very similar energy. This in particular is going to, I feel, bring to the surface any kind of narcissistic or toxic masculine kind of traits, especially out in the world. There's a lot of leaders out there that are fucking douchebags that do not have, you know, people's, you know, heart, greatest health and welfare in mind. And I believe that people that do not have that in their heart are falling off. They're dying off. They're getting cancer. They're just falling away, because that energy is no longer feasible in this world, even with all the amazing technologies we have. So this is cleansing the divine masculine in a very fundamental way in our identity. Okay, there's a new type of divine masculine I feel is really preparing us to come into a more feminine, dominant way of living that'll happen a couple years down the road. And when I say more feminine dominant, I mean more fluid, more loving, more safe, more heart-based, right? The Christ consciousness is heart-based. And that's also a good blend of, you know, divine masculine and divine feminine. But divine feminine dominant, I feel, is more like loving the earth, right? And really, at the end of the day, you know, the women that we choose to have in our lives, especially like for me as a man, like, right, like the right woman builds me up and supports me in everything that I do. And I feel like I can take on the world when I come home to a woman that makes me feel safe. If I have the wrong woman in my life, the opposite happens. I fucking stumble, I crash, I fall, and it destroys life. And I know that, you know, is the case with, you know, many men, many men. Because when you get out in the world and you have opinions and you stand in your truth, you're gonna get attacked. People are gonna talk shit. People are gonna fucking hate you. I have had so many haters, and many years ago, I let that get the better of me, and I had to have my, you know, breakthrough, and I got stronger, and now I'm back, and I'm back, baby, and I'm in my purest form, and you know, and so, you know, I've gone through my own chrysalis processes, and you know, so hopefully through my example, I'm able to share this with you and inspire you to do that for yourself, because that's really what this is all about, right? So Moon is going to be coming at the beginning of June, coming through Aries, conjuncting all these energies. We have Mercury conjuncting Jupiter here on June 4th, which is just massive epiphanies, like wanting to get together, be around people, socializing. We have Venus conjunct the Sun here on this day too. So again, another triple conjunction between the Moon and Uranus, which is genius ideas too. Jupiter, I mean, on June 4th, June 3rd and 4th, Uranus conjunct the Moon and Jupiter conjunct Mercury with the Sun conjunct Venus. This is genius downloads, ideas, concepts. This time to take action. This is the time in our lives where we are meant to take action and make shit happen. All right. So here we have this new moon, June 5th. Let's see what time we looking at on 16 degrees. 16 degrees of Gemini conjunct Venus exactly at 16 degrees. 6 + 1 is 7. So 777, that's very auspicious. Mars at the indirect degree of 28 degrees. We have Chiron conjunct Hygeia. Hygeia is healing, is deep healing of the identity with Chiron. There's so much Chiron energy going on here, guys. It is very powerful. You know, Uranus is now at 24 degrees. It's getting up to it's going to get up to 27 degrees this year, I believe. And that is something that we have not seen in a long time. Now, there is a lot of energy here that could potentially activate some war type scenarios. But individually, if we choose to be at war with ourselves, then we will attract or vibrate towards the war energy out there. If we choose to rise above that energy within ourselves, that will be like a whole different world. We will never see that because we are not a vibrational match to that. So it is so important, I cannot stress this enough, to be at peace in your mind and in your heart and in your life. Because if you are not at peace, if you have this aggressive warlike mentality, you will attract that like fucking fly to shit. All right, we do not want to do that. So Gemini, new moon with Venus here, just really a new clarity, a fresh perspective in the mind. Mars now coming into Taurus on June 9th. You know, Mercury is coming up to conjunct the Sun with that Cazimi. It's you know, Mars, it doesn't really like to be in Taurus. It's a little bit stubborn. This could be where, you know, like we're trying to make some moves, and now we might get into some frustrations. Like we want to put all these things together, but things are, you know, slowing down a little bit. That's okay. All right, we got Pluto back at 1 degree. Saturn at 19 degrees. Now it's at the end of the second decan. This is where like we're starting to master this Saturn energy and really coming into clearing out all the lessons from the last Saturn in Pisces, which is 93, 94, 95, if you were alive then. All right, I know that was when I went into foster care. And that was my first Saturn opposition. I'm in my second Saturn opposition now. And I can definitely see it. I can definitely feel it. And now that I'm doing astrology, when I go back to my Saturn return, that's when my life changed like crazy. I'm a Capricorn sun, right? And I didn't get into astrology until after I came back to my rack. So now that I'm in my Saturn opposition, like, all right, I see you, motherfucker. All right, I'm gonna be very aware, and I'm gonna be focusing and doing my thing and making sure I'm not doing anything stupid. 25 degrees here, June 16th, with Uranus. It's creating a beautiful grand trine. Venus now at the end of Gemini. Venus is flying, and Venus and Mercury are going to conjunct at 0 degrees of Capricorn. So this is going to be powerful. It may be a little difficult, to be honest, because we have this is a quincunx over to Pluto and at 1 degree of Aquarius, right? So with that quincunx energy, this is like, now we're coming into this Cancer energy, and mind you, we're going to have Mars retrograde in Cancer at the end of the year. So I feel like this Cancer season was kind of setting us up to get ready for whatever it is that we're going to have to learn here at the end of the year. So just keep that in mind. All right. But Venus conjunct Mercury is really seeing how we want to feel, getting a new sensation, a new idea of what we want to feel, or maybe it's feeling the absence of something that we want to feel because of the quincunx, and saying we need to do something different, we need to evolve, we need to move, we need to take some action and some new step, and that could be definitely coming down the line, because also we're going to be having a full moon here at, I believe, 1 degree of, is it 1 degree of Capricorn? Yes, 1 degree of Capricorn on June. Hold that thought. So if you guys haven't yet, please smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. It helps a lot. And, please share this with anybody that you think will resonate. I also do a lot of other work, besides astrology. I use astrology for coaching purposes, but I also do live and dry blood cell analysis. I do fascia stress therapy. I work with combo. I work with bufo. I do medicine ceremonies to help clear trauma out of the physical body and the mind. I will get you to where you want to go if you're trying to figure out issues with relationships or your career or whatnot. Contact me, let me know. I have a free 15-minute consultation on my Calendly on my Instagram. So you can go to spiritual_bodybuilder, follow me on Instagram. And yeah, but back to this energy. So we have a full moon at 1 degree of Capricorn. So we went through all this last degree energy, now getting all these significant aspects at the first degrees is a rebirth, is a starting over, starting fresh, right? June 21st. Let's see, nothing too super significant here, but welcome to Cancer season, right? Cancer season's fun. It's going to be hot, and it's probably a lot of crazy weather is going to be starting too. With this Neptune at 29 degrees, we can expect floods. We can expect probably issues with water. So having water filtration systems, or optimally you want to have your own aquifer, your own well. But those that don't have access to that, be mindful of the water. And water also means emotions too. So right. So, and now we're coming in Cancer season. Cancer is emotions. If you're stuffing them down, this time is not going to let you stuff them down. You will get physically sick. So stop that. All right. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. And Sun, Venus, Mercury now in Cancer. Now we're evolving into this new, like feeling at home in this new chapter, and stepping into our new, this new world, this new life. Mars is getting closer to Uranus. Now Mars conjunct Uranus, that could be a volatile energy as well, because Uranus is unexpected thing. That's like the aspect of earthquakes, of earthquakes, right? So, but this can also be taking genius action, or taking like a very bold move that challenges your self-worth, like standing up, like I ain't gonna take this shit anymore, like let's go, like show them how to do it right, and like taking bold action in that direction. All right, so there's always a higher and lower vibration energy to these aspects. Just make sure that you're being very conscious and clear about what it is that, what kind of action is you want to take. We have Chiron now up to 23 degrees here towards the end of June. And let's see, coming into the very end of June. Now on June, what is that? On June 29th, we have Saturn going retrograde at 19 degrees. So that's about as far as Saturn is going to get. So now we have Pluto and Saturn retrograde, and it'll still be about another month or so before we have other planets go retrograde. So now we're in that process of you know, karma. What have we done for the last 6 months? All right, what kind of karma have we created for ourselves? Are we going to move forward? Are we going to have to learn some lessons? Uh, you know, and whatever it is, accept it and allow it and let it be okay. All right, and let that flow. But now we are at the end, coming to July 1st, where we have Mars conjunct the Moon, conjunct Uranus. This July is gonna be a very intense month, but I'll get into that for the third quarter when I do that energy. So you can look forward to a lot of new beginnings finally starting and taking off and stepping into this new direction. You can expect a lot of misinformation, a lot of propaganda, a lot of bullshit, a lot of crazy weather patterns happening as well. And these weather patterns are a representation of how we're feeling within ourselves. So this quarter is especially important for that self-work. It is now a requirement to be able to balance out your central nervous system. Uranus coming into these higher degrees in Taurus is like, you can no longer stuff this down. You can no longer, like, there's just no way. Your body doesn't have any more room. There's just no more room. The energy is purging out like a fountain. Okay, so the more you're able to balance out the central nervous system, Uranus represents the central nervous system. So what's that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is going to fry the central nervous system. If you are stuck in fight or flight, stop taking, stop doing stimulants. Like if you're in the gym, right? Like, don't push yourself too hard, dude. You might have a freaking heart attack. You got to be careful in these energies and not push yourself too out of, into any kind of extreme. All right, the balance is the way. So take that for what it is. Please leave me a comment below and let me know your thoughts on this energy and how you're doing. If you'd like a reading with me, just click in the link in the description box below. Like, share, subscribe. Love you all very much. And I will see you soon on the next video.